I'm going to talk a little bit about the application process here to help make it a little easier to understand how exactly you can access an application. So who can apply, right? Landlords can apply, tenants can apply. Either a landlord or a tenant can initiate an application. Now, I'm going to talk expressly about the state's program, but I'm going to let you know that most of these aspects apply also to the local programs. Local programs are required to have an opportunity for a landlord to submit an application. In the state's program, when a landlord submits an application, an email goes out to their tenant inviting them to complete their portion of the application. If a tenant applies, then their landlord gets an invitation for them to complete their portion of the application. In some of the local programs, this is not quite so automated. There's a little bit more of a manual process, but regardless of which program you apply to, there is a cross notification letting the other party know. Once that connection has been made and the application has been completed, the application is assigned to a case manager. That case manager reviews it for completeness. If there's any questions, they reach out to get those questions answered. Any additional documents get uploaded. Anything that needs to be resolved so that the application can be paid. Once that has been completed, then the application gets paid. If the landlord does not participate, then the application goes through a little bit more review with our case management. Any additional questions are resolved. Once that is completed, then the payment can be made directly to the tenant, and the tenant has 15 days to make that payment to their landlord. If a tenant doesn't participate, right? So if a landlord starts an application and their tenant doesn't participate, that application cannot move forward. And what will end up happening is that landlord's application, that period will time out and that tenant may be subject to eviction. So we strongly encourage any eligible tenant to participate in the program. If tenants are unsure if they are eligible, go submit an application. Put that on us. We'll determine your eligibility. You don't have to self-sort your way through this. We have some very simplified screening tools to help folks navigate the income aspect. But otherwise, we strongly encourage households who aren't sure about eligibility to go ahead and apply and let us work through the eligibility issues for you. The next slide. So what information do folks need? I'm going to start with landlords because their list is a little bit shorter. So landlords need to provide all of the following information in their application. They need to have a lease or a rental agreement. You need to have something that provides evidence of their rent relationship. We don't require a lease. We don't require a printed agreement, but we need something that documents that rental relationship with the tenant. They need to have some sort of rent ledger, rent statement, rent roll, something that shows the balance of unpaid rents due from April 1st, 2020. So it needs to be nice and clear that we can understand what amount is actually due. And the federal requirement is that those rents be broken out month over month. So we really do need to see sort of a month over month rent due statement. And then they need a W-9. This program is taxable income for landlords. It is rent revenues. So they will be taxed on that. And the program will be providing a 1099 early next year to folks who've participated in the program for assistance. For renters, what they need to provide and show their eligibility is one of the following. So they need some sort of income document. That could be your 2020 tax return, 2020 W-2s and 1099s, current pay stubs. It could be proof of participation in some other subsidized program like CalFresh or CalWorks. It could also be your Social Security information, Social Security certification information. It could be, we have a very exhaustive list in the application itself to let folks know there's a lot of ways you can show your income documentation. If you have no way to document your income, we have a way of taking an attestation. So we can take an attestation of of income earned, or a attestation of zero income if you don't have any income coming to your household. If they're looking for assistance with utility bills, we'll need a utility invoice that shows your unpaid balance. We are coordinating with a lot of utility providers at this time to help make payments through utilities, verifying with your utility providers that the balance is within the eligible period. But we do need to know what that utility balance is. And then if your landlord is not participating in the program, if as a tenant you've reached out and landlord has said, no, I'm not going to do that. Or if you're not sure about your landlord's participation, then we'll need some sort of rent due statement, something that shows your rent relationship with your landlord. Again, it can be incredibly informal. We've seen things like text messages and emails. Doesn't necessarily need to be a formally signed agreement, but we do need to know what that rent due will be. Now, as I mentioned, for landlords, this is taxable income because it is rent revenues. For renters, for households who receive funds directly to them as a household, this is not taxable income. So this is not something that's going to show up on your taxes. It's not something that's going to impact your ability to qualify for other subsidized programs. So just wanted to make sure that there's clarity there. On the next slide. So where to apply? We have created a tool, we call it our No Wrong Door, to make it easy to find find out the correct place to apply, regardless of whether you're in the state program or if you're in a local program. So when you go to the Housing is Key website, go through and click the buttons to take you to the application. Just click and apply. And what will show up eventually here is this map tool. This map tool will allow you to type in your address in that top section. When you type your address in, it will then give you a link in the bottom section, a little table. The link will either take you to an additional screening question that will take you to the state program, or it will take you directly to your applicable local program. And that way you'll be able to know what program you need to apply for in order to reach assistance, but then also where do you need to put your application in to make sure that you are engaging your ongoing eviction protections. This tool has been translated, so it is available in 6 languages. So you can find the tool in language. And if you're having any difficulty navigating this tool, I'm going to talk a little bit about our resources. You can see down at the bottom our housingiskey.com and then our call center, our 833-430-2122. And we have call center staff who are available to help people navigate these tools in the event that they're having a hard time. On the next slide. What to expect for your application. So once you've gotten through the No Wrong Door, and in the event that you are routed to the state application, the first thing you'll have to do is register to get your email set up with an account in our state application tool. So that the very first thing is you do need